strife. Brothers, why can't we be united? Division only brings us ruin and strife. Brothers, why can't we be united? So we say, unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. Unity does not mean the same. Let me tell you about the spirit of the new way. Let me tell you about someday. Let me tell you about the spirit of the new way. Let me tell you about someday. Garden is a garden when it has variety. The flowers enhancing one another.
Welcome to Unity and Diversity, sponsored by the Baha'is of Memphis and Shelby County. I would like to welcome our audience out there that sent us some pictures the last time for the Tree of Humanity, which we're going to show you later on in the show. But first, I would like to also tell you that the show is basically for you out there to learn a little bit more about our people that come to Memphis and to learn about their cultural heritage and background. This way we can better get along with one another and also make a better world. And today on our first guest today will be from Iran, which is, oh my, here we go, which will be here, which is one of the oldest cultures in the world. And of course Iran is located right here next to Russia and also next to the Caspian Sea. Today my first guest I would like to welcome to the show is Saeed. Saeed, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi. Now, Saeed, how long have you been in Memphis?
I have been here about 13 years.
Oh, about 13 years. So did you go to school here?
Yes, I went to high school here, White Station High School, and then I went to Lebanon College, and I graduated from Lebanon.
Oh, so you are educated here in the United States. Well, this is interesting. And what are you doing now? What do you do here now?
Well, right now I'm self-employed. I'm a direct importer, and also I do have a retail business and wholesale business.
Oh,
in
that's
Memphis.
interesting. Yeah, well, what do you import? What do you?
Well, I import solid breast from India, and also breast plated from Taiwan, and also I do retail and wholesale in Memphis to the businesses.
Oh, okay, that's very good. But let's get back down to something very interesting, knowing that you were from Iran. And how old were you when you came to Memphis?
Well, I was about 23 years when I came to Memphis.
Oh, and so you finished school here also, right?
Yes, I finished the school here.
Well, what were some of the things that you found that were quite different than they were when you were in Iran? Something that surprised you when you got here?
Well, when I was back home, I thought I used to watch movie a lot, and I thought United States is like a movie that what you see. And I came over here, and it was different. It was all different. I couldn't imagine.
What was it that, did anything happen to you at that time that sort of was hard to understand?
Well, when I came here, I didn't know English at all. I even couldn't speak English, so everything, wherever I go, I couldn't understand anything, just see.
This is very interesting because I know that I've been to different foreign countries. As a matter of fact, I was in Beirut, Lebanon, which is sort of toward your part of the world, and I couldn't speak Arabic either, so I can understand how you felt being in America, not being able to speak any English. I always thought that people may be saying something that was against me or that I wouldn't like, but actually when I found people that did speak English, I found out they were very friendly and very helpful, so I hope that you found people here to be helpful and friendly too.
Yeah, of course. People in United States are pretty nice, they are pretty helpful, and I like United States and I like the people. It's just when you come here, you don't understand, you see everything is different, idea is different, culture is different, and when you really come to different country, you have to learn the culture to understand the language, to find out why the people act, how the people act, and well, other words, like when you learn the culture, you learn their language.
Okay, well, this is why we hosting this show, is to show people that they can learn of a culture like yourself. For an example, your family background. How was your family life there in Iran?
I'm sorry?
How was your family life? Your brothers and sisters, how did you, how did you grow up there? For an example, like in America, a lot of times the women are the head of households here. But some cases the men are too, but a lot of times they are. But like in Iran, how is it?
I see what your point is. Yeah, well, in Iran, like the husband is usually head of the house. Whatever the husband said, everybody has to go with it. And then after that, the older brother, and then the next one, and then the next one.
So in other words, if you're at the bottom of the totem pole, you sort of
are in trouble.
End of the pecking order, so to speak.
Okay. Yes, you are in trouble.
Now, where are you from? What was the name of your city?
I'm from Shiraz.
Shiraz, okay. Shiraz, is that the city noted for roses and nightingales?
Of course.
And so a very beautiful city?
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful.
A lot of the poets came from that part of the world. It's interestingly enough, a lot of our guests might not know this, but Persians, Iranians are not Arabic. This is strange.
No, we are not. That's true. We are not Arabic. We are Parsi or Farsi.
Okay. Now, did the Farsi come from the Aryan stock, the Aryan roots? In other words, there were Aryans in that particular part of the world, and as they spread out to many different parts of the world, I think some of the Aryans landed in Persia, or what is today Iran.
Yes.
And I believe that's also where the word Iran comes from, which is Aryan. So this is something interesting for our guests and the audience to know a little bit about the history of Persia, that they're not Arabic, they're actually... right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, now then, since you've been here, what would you say to the American people? What could we do to make visitors welcome on our shores? Like you as a visitor coming to America, and we wanted to make you welcome and then let you understand our culture, how would you suggest we would do that?
Well, you're talking about to...
Make you comfortable.
Oh, well, I think I'm comfortable. When I came over here, I was very comfortable because, I see the nice people, and I like the United States, and you said there are a lot of good people in the United States. They are very nice people and very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is what I hope that we can learn, is that we must try and treat our guests as if they were guests, as if we would want to be treated also, because this is what causes the love between mankind and the love between our brothers around the world. And this is one of the things that I hope that the program sort of focuses on. I remember just the other day there was a symphony, the Germantown Symphony played music in North Memphis, which is one of the impoverished areas of our town, and they were, fortunate enough to have, this type of entertainment and the music into that area. And also, there are other people out here in Memphis that are striving to make people like yourself welcome, and hopefully you'll learn a lot about Memphis as you've been here. And another thing, have you traveled anywhere else besides Memphis since you've been here?
Yes, I have traveled a lot of places. Chicago, California, New York, all the area. I have been in a lot of states, United States, and I chose Memphis the best place.
Oh, well, since you're here in Memphis now, did you have anyone here? Why did you come to Memphis itself?
Well, my brother was over here before I come over here. He was going to school, and I just followed him here because I couldn't speak English, so I had to stay somewhere that somebody can help me out.
Oh, okay. So now is your brother still in Memphis?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
he is teaching in Lemon College, actually.
Lemon. Oh, okay. Now, one more question we like to talk about, and this is very interesting. I would like to know, for an example, how did you find the American women? Most time people go to a foreign country, they don't know much to speak about the women in America. How did you find them? from your country coming to this country?
Well, they are pretty interesting. Our culture is so much different than yours. Like back home, we usually don't date women, and until we get married, then we get to know them. But right here, you date each other, and then you married.
Well, in my last show, I talked to Madan, who was from India, and he said over there that their marriages are arranged by the parents. In that particular culture, which is in India.
That's true.
Are they arranged in Persia, or are you free there to go out and meet a girl and?
Well, no, you are not free. You are not free to do that. But usually you have matchmaker, or you just go. You see your neighbor daughter, and then you kind of fall in love, or just get interested, and you get married. I think they sneak out a little bit.
Sneak out a little bit, but, well, this is very different here, of course. You sort of, you're left to your own whatever here, whatever you can do, and I don't think the parents have had much to do with it, which is a little bit different than it is here.
It is true.
Okay. Now, have you been back to Iran?
No, I haven't. I haven't been back yet. I have been busy here, and I haven't had chance to go, but I like to go and come back. But I think I will stay here rest of my life.
Oh, well, that says something good for Memphis, that you're willing to stay here for the rest of your life. Do you still have family there?
Yes, my father, my mother, and one of my sisters is there.
Oh, very good.
So they have children, and I haven't seen them yet either.
Oh, so you'd be willing to go back there maybe one day and sort of,
visit
pick up where you left
everybody.
off, visit everybody.
And come
so
back.
forth. Yeah. Well, okay, this is wonderful. And just perhaps one more question before our break. Well, of course, I want you to stay with us and come back. I have the second part of the show. I have another very interesting guest for my audience out there. But if you could tell, say, your fellow man in Iran about America, what would you tell them?
I will tell them what is true about United States. It's a good country, freedom, and the land of opportunity. You really can do anything you want in this country. There is a lot of money, a lot of knowledge. You really can do anything you want in United States. And if some people say no, I think they are lazy and they don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it. Well, you didn't have any problems being a foreigner as far as like when you were going to school and going into business for yourself? Did you have any problems related to because you were not from America?
Well, I had a lot of hard time. Myself, I even couldn't speak English, and I have been very successful. Not excellent, but I will make a good living.
Okay.
And that's important,
I want to tell you something. I talked to a friend of yours, and he said that when you first came to America and as you were growing up, that you wanted to go to a place, you thought it was some type of a bar, and you was wondering what strange things were going on in this bar. And you found out that instead of a bar, that they were selling barbecue.
That's true. It was very strange.
Very good.
I cannot believe it. When you come here and you don't know the English, you can do a lot of stupid things.
Okay, we want to thank you for being on our show this time. And why don't you stick around for the second half of the show, and we'll be right back in a moment after this message.
We have, we should remember our greatest asset is our people.
And once we realize that we all need each other, we can go anywhere.
Welcome to the second half of Unity and Diversity. During the second part of our show, I'm going to have another guest, and the next guest is simply known as Marcelle. Marcelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Marcelle, where are you from?
Well, originally, I'm not from Memphis, but I am now. I came from Arkansas. For quite a while, I stayed in Piggott, Arkansas, where my father lives now.
Piggott, Arkansas. As a matter of fact, I know some people have roots in Piggott, Arkansas.
Oh.
Sherry and Julie, if you're watching, hi. That's very interesting. Now, when did you leave Piggott and come to Memphis? Or did you come to Memphis after you left Piggott?
Well, in a roundabout way, I got to Memphis about when I was in about the 6th grade. And then from there, let's see, I went to high school at Treadwell. I went to Rhodes College, which at that time it was Southwestern.
Oh, what did you take up there? What was your major?
Business administration with an emphasis in accounting.
Okay.
And then I went to Memphis State University Law School.
Oh, very good. Well, I'm going to be good. As a matter of fact, what type of law do you practice?
Well, I work for Social Security in the Office of Hearing and Appeals, and I do mostly disability work.
Oh, well, I've got this old football in. Well, you know, the show is about unity and diversity, about diverse backgrounds and cultures. So since I'd had people from other parts of the world on, I thought I'd have an American on the show today and to really show some cultural diversity here. And, of course, my first guest whom was with us for the second part is Saeed. And, of course, as you know, Saeed is from Persia. Let me ask you a question. As an American, do you think you could get along with Saeed?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. What do you mean, absolutely? How long have you known this guy?
Well, actually, I've known him about 11 years,
11
and I've been married to him 9 years.
Oh, okay. We sort of sprung that one on the audience because what I wanted to do was show that people from different backgrounds can get along, and we're going to find out some of those cultural problems that they had, or if they had any. Number one, oh, wow, this is real juicy. I don't know where to start. How did you meet him?
Well, actually, he knocked me down almost. He ran into me we were both in summer school at
She did.
Oh, he wasn't a gentleman. Weren't you a gentleman? I thought you were a gentleman. The guys from Persia are supposed to be gentlemen.
He did pick up my books.
Okay, he did do that.
He was a gentleman.
Oh, so,
Absolutely.
And now you met him in, high school? Was
Right,
in high
it was
school?
in the high school, summer
okay.
school.
Okay, and then, of course, to skip over a lot of things like that, you finally got married, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, now then, what was a cultural shock for you? Just give me one.
Oh, well, it's hard to say because at first, you know, you don't realize how different you are, and you only see the similarities, except for, of course, he couldn't hardly speak English when I met him. And when he first asked me out, I had to say it a couple of times so I'd understand what he meant.
Okay.
So that was kind of tough. But I tried to get what he meant instead of trying to focus on what was coming out.
So that was very good. In other words, you didn't treat him as if he was something strange when he came to this country. What we're talking about is to show the people in our audience, too, that if we're kind to people, we might wind up with a husband or wife, but no, that's not the point. The point here is that the two cultures, we can survive side by side, and that through knowledge of his background and your background, that we can, you know, build a better world, people to people, people coming together. That's why I'm proud to have you both on the show today.
Thank you.
And you're not off the hook yet. I want to ask you another question. Okay, have you met his parents, by the way?
Yes, I have. We were married for quite a while before they came, almost 6 years. And I was kind of scared.
Well, let me ask him. Now, how did you tell your parents you were marrying an American, of all people?
Well, I just told them I'm married.
Well, they couldn't do very much being, you know,
No.
about 3,000 or 4,000 miles away. There's not much they could do,
Nothing
right?
they can do.
Right.
Okay, have you been to Iran?
No, I haven't.
You haven't been to Iran, okay.
That's something I would like to do sometimes, but I haven't been able to yet.
Well, that's okay. I haven't been there either. I've been a lot of places, but I haven't been to Iran, and maybe perhaps one day I might go also. But now, getting back to the cultural thing again.
Okay.
Let's see. Have you met, okay, of course you met his brother, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what about his parents? Have you met his parents?
Yes, they were really good people. Not what I expected, of course, because you don't know what to expect, but, you know, mother-in-law, father-in-law,
Yeah,
you know, even in our own culture, sometimes they don't get along, but I was really pleasantly surprised. They treated me very well. They loved me, and they were good to me. They lived with us for the most of the time while they were here, and we got along pretty well, even with the language barrier.
That's what the next question is going to ask you, knowing that they speak Farsi and you speak English. So what did you do? How did you communicate? If you wanted to say, come with me, what did you do? Just
Bia.
Bia. Oh, see, now you're learning some of the language. Oh.
Yeah, just this much. I mean, enough to just barely get by and say, Saeed, what did she say to me? But it worked out. You know, when you try, it can work out. You just have to try.
You just have to try. Okay, were they surprised by anything, or did you know that they were surprised when they came, the culture shock for them coming here?
I'm sure it was.
Let me ask him. He could probably answer that question better than you, since he speaks the language better than you. When your parents came to America, were they surprised at the way our way of life?
Well, first when they came over here, all they thought was to visit us, to see us. That's the most important thing was to them, because they haven't seen us for like 10, 11 years. You don't see your children. After that, when they came over here, they kind of got tired because, as I said, not knowing the culture and not knowing the language. It's like you are somewhere you cannot say anything. You are like a dumb, you know. So that's
so you had to interpret. You of course, by you speaking English, you could do most of the interpreting for
Well,
them.
I was doing it. I was sometimes so confused. I was talking Farsi to the American and English to my family, you know, because I had to explain both ways. And
you got it mixed up, and you were talking, you know, Farsi to American and English to your parents in the translation there.
That's right. But they like it. They like here too. It's a good country. It's a very good country.
Well, this is one of the things that we like to learn, particularly like, for example, your parents, they're not being American, and you're married to them, which would be a foreigner, and of course to her parents, you would be the foreigner. So now, Marcelle, how did your parents take it when they knowing you were marrying somebody that was not from Memphis or Piggott?
Well, my family's very close-knit. So at first my mother was upset because she thought, oh, he's going to take my baby to Iran. But now she loves Saeed, and it's no problem at all.
Oh, I'll bet you he's probably the favorite son-in-law.
Well, we can't talk like that. Otherwise I get mad.
Yeah, well, hopefully they won't watch the program. But I said it. He didn't say it.
That's
so.
the only one, anyway.
Yeah, so I don't want to make anybody angry about that. But you get along with his mom very well?
Yes, I love her very much. She's very nice. She's very generous. She helps us out all the time. Any problem we do have, she take care of it.
Yeah, this is very good, because I think that one of the things that goes along with that is just true love for one another. If there's true love between you and her, and then if both of the parents notice this love, then of course we can bridge the gap and bring people together. But the main thing is that we learn that no matter what our background, what our culture, by understanding that culture, then of course we can understand one another and make a better world. And here in Memphis, we just had Memphis in May last month, where of course we talked about Kenya, and we had Kenya. So as you can see, it is important for us here in Memphis to know about the cultures of other people. And now tell me something. Do you have any children?
Yes, I have two children.
Oh, they got children too.
One looks like an American, and the other one looks like an Iranian, believe it or not.
Well, that's going to be interesting. They walk down the street, and people are going to say, these two guys, and they found out they're actually brothers. Well,
Right.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. How old are your children?
One is 3 and one is 1.
Ah, one is 3.
Two
and
little
one is
boys.
1. Oh, that's very well. And so how did your parents get along with your kids?
Well, they haven't seen them. They are hoping to come over
They
here.
saw Masood.
Yeah, they saw Masood. My mother saw Masood. My father hasn't seen Masood.
Oh,
The biggest child. But they want to come over here to visit them, but I don't know when. Hopefully sometime soon.
Okay. Now let's think about, for an example, we have a lot of different people here in Memphis, a lot of different ethnic and racial backgrounds. And as on my show, I like to try and find out from my guest, what do you think we in Memphis could do to bring about a better understanding and get the different people together, perhaps like on a project or work together, or just whatever you think that might be something we could explore?
Well, not as a project, but have an awareness of other people and other languages, even in the grade schools, would probably help. You know, like, just so that the children, or even in high school and on up, are exposed to other cultures would be good. For instance, I have my child in daycare that has a lot of different backgrounds, people in it, and that's very good because they're just exposed to it. And that exposure helps.
Okay, so the language barrier, I heard somewhere there's a doctor that came out with a language called Esperanto, I think it was. It was supposedly like something like a universal language, where if this was taught in all of the schools and countries along with the mother tongue, it might be a means of communication. So when you talked about the language, I thought about that. And who knows, one day the universal language could possibly be English or whatever, but there is a need for a language, you know, so we can understand one another. As I said before, when I went to foreign countries and thought that people were talking about me, if I had a language I could speak, then of course I would have known what they were saying. But I realized that, like in Africa, for an example, there's a language there called Swahili that I think that most of the people speak. So that's one way of communication as they travel across the country there. As a matter of fact, I had a guest on who was from Africa by the name of Edward. And Edward, if you're watching your show, hi there, guy. And one of the things Edward said, and I remember so well about, he says, long as we maintain, he says, peace, hope, and I think he said love. Peace, hope, and love is one of the major ingredient in doing this. Now, an example, like we celebrate certain holidays and things, you know, like the Americans celebrate certain holidays. What type of holidays do you celebrate?
Well, we got New Year that we celebrate, and we got this kind of like Christmas to y'all, and I think that's all we do have.
Okay then. Well, anyway, first I'd like to thank you and also your lovely wife for appearing on the show. And for my audience out there, thank you again for tuning in. And this show again is dedicated to the people that are working in the human era to bring about love and peace and assuage the suffering of mankind. And also, I would like to again thank you for sending your pictures in to the Tree of Humanity. And you can mail your pictures to John Smith, care of the Baha'is of Memphis, P.O. Box 111101, zip code 38111. Thank you very much, and tune in again for the next show.
Brothers, why can't we be united? Division only brings us ruin and strife. Brothers, why can't we be united? So we say, unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. Unity does not mean the same. Let me tell you about the spirit of the new wave. Let me tell you about someday. Let me tell you about the spirit of the new wave. Let me tell you about someday. Garden is a garden when it has variety. The flowers enhancing one another.